Hello and welcome to Ghosts Want You Dead presents Ghosts Want to Talk About AMC's The Vampire Lestat, formerly Interview with the Vampire, a limited bonus recap series. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Rebecca. Most of the time, we talk to you about everyone's favorite spooky 60s soap opera, Dark Shadows. We're still doing that every Monday for this foreseeable future.
But today, and for the 6 subsequent Tuesdays, we'll also be popping in to discuss each of the 7 episodes of AMC's The Vampire Lestat, aka the third series of Interview with the Vampire.
We were already going to be watching it and discussing the show, but we figured what's the harm in turning on the microphones and sharing with the rest of the class?
This is definitely not a cynical attempt to lure unsuspecting fans of a much more current and presently widely discussed bit of pop culture than our usual fare, thereby seducing them into parasocial paranormal romance with us that may lead to them joining our Patreon and making us wealthy. Patreon.com/ghosts want you dead.
Well, if you're done villain monologuing, would you like to talk about AMC's The Vampire Lestat, formerly The Interview with Vampire, Episode 1, Detroit? Shall we?
I suppose we'd better. I must confess that during the previously on recap, it did occur to me that I may not have finished the last season of the show. There were scenes I definitely did not remember, but also I'm elderly, so maybe I did. We'll see. I'll go back and rewatch the last couple just to make sure I'm up to date. But in the previously on, there's a brief recap of Louis and Lestat getting together, the Claudia business, them fighting, the Paris stuff, Armand, Lestat coming back from the attempted murder by Claudia and Louis, etc. I thought the credit sequence was very stupid.
Yeah, it was.
After an opening auction scene, we see Armand in an eye patch and Louis with a cane. At first, I'm not sure if something has happened that I may have missed at the end of series 2, but then I assume that this auction is taking someplace during or after the events of Queen of the Damned, and we're flashing back in a bit. At any rate, the auction introduces the framing device of Lestat's voiceover, which is basically a podcast, but only distributed on a set of records sold to a single bidder for a very high price, which I cannot recall. It was good to see Justin Kirk return from his sojourn to the failed Talamasca spinoff, which I enjoyed and was sad to see canceled.
Yeah, we started trying to watch that together, or you just show me, and I haven't gotten in it yet, but I do want to start that.
Lestat sets the stage for the season, explaining in a combination of voiceover and flashback that this was his reaction to the publication of Daniel's Interview with the Vampire book and his subsequent hostile takeover of the garage band that lived across the street from him, and the beginnings of his quest for fame as a musician, with lots of annoying current pop culture references shoehorned in.
Yeah. His FaceTiming flirting with Louis was cute, and him being upset about the book was fun, but also already seen in clips on the internet. And so there wasn't really anything super new there.
We're led through a single tour stop of Lestat's band in Detroit, where they performed 2 shows, and I'm sorry if anybody likes it, but I fucking hate the music.
Yeah, it's real bad.
He's good at singing, but the songs are not good.
Yep. That was how I felt about it as well.
After accidentally drinking the drug-filled blood of an audience member, Lestat has a bad night where he is attempted murdered by local Detroit vampires while in voiceover getting in some fun digs at the attitude of nationally touring bands versus local acts, which, as a years long member of shitty local acts, I found amusing.
Yeah. Up until the end of this episode, Lestat has not revealed himself as an actual vampire, just a silly novelty act. But he's on drugs and accidentally publicly eats people and whatnot, then flies out the window and away rather than face immediate consequences. Throughout the episode, he's exchanging text messages with an unknown individual, whom we assume to be Louis, as they are romantic in nature. But surprise, it turns out to be his mommy, whom he makes out with before the end credits.
As I recall, the incest vibes are not unique to the television adaptation.
Yeah, I remember some of it being icky in the books. I don't remember a great deal of detail about it in the books, but I know it's not a new thing they just decided to throw in. But it's still gross and it always is gross, and that's a bummer. But also, maybe it could be interesting.
'Cause speaking of book differences, of course, it stood out that the framing device differs from the novel
Yeah,
because in the novel it's books Lestat is writing, but that's appropriate for a TV adaptation. That wasn't too jarring, but
sure.
it did also occur to me that we probably ought to reread the book. I have already put it on hold at the library, and I think I'm second or third in line. I haven't read the book in like 32 years. So
Well, it occurred to me to do the same thing. I was thinking, I need some fun fluff to read, and it would be nice to do that. But I'm also scared of Chuck Palahniucking myself.
I
And I know you know
also
what I mean. But
I also had similar concerns. Listeners, this is a phenomena we noticed when we reread Chuck Palahniuk books in our 30s,
yeah,
which we thought were brilliant when we were 17 to 21.
yeah,
And then when we reread them as adults, we're like, oh, this is dumb.
yeah. This is just hacky and perverted. Like, this isn't fun at all.
I initially read the Anne Rice novels from about age 12 to 21, and I did worry, what if I read them now and my nostalgia is ruined and I don't love them anymore now that I'm a crotchety old man?
I will say though that I think her writing style is still good. Like, but yeah, we definitely should read the books, and I think that will be fun. Contrast from the previous seasons of the show, which Matthew and I have both really liked and had a lot of positive things to say about. We have been kind of aware that the Vampire Lestat is kind of the silliest of them all because the concept of a rock and roll vampire is just goofy to begin with.
And we were concerned that the show would be stupid.
Yeah,
And it is,
it is.
but it knows that it is, and
I
so I also love it.
I am appreciative of that. It feels very disjointed already, but I think it's by design, so I'm trying to give it a moment.
It clearly is, like, an intentional shift in tone and storytelling as we're shifting point of view,
Yeah.
and it is jarring, but it's on purpose, it seems, and yes, it was very silly, and it knows it's very silly and is having fun with that, so I am on board after my initial reservations.
I'm not on board with weird mommy fucking. That's kind of annoying. I wish they'd sort of
Well,
washed over that a little.
I
But
mean, that was the case in the book, and
yeah.
TV incest is very popular. See Game of Thrones and
Yeah, no,
whatnot.
I know, and I figured that that would happen, but it is a bummer, and I think mainly for me just because, I don't know, there are so few bisexual icons, and I think Sam Reid's portrayal really kinda drove that home in the last 2 seasons, and now it's like, "Oh, yes, sexy bisexual vampires who fuck their mothers," and I'm like, "Oh." He's still an icon and I love him, and I think his acting is just really lovely. I mean, he is also hot and beautiful. And we discussed this. You actually prefer Louis
I think
over
Louis is
Lestat.
hotter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Sam Reid is hot, but I think he is hotter on the newsreader.
I do wanna watch that. I've seen clips of it, and he seems kind of darling.
And with the hair and the makeup and the perhaps too much working out, there was a scene towards the end of this episode. I thought that he did bear a striking resemblance in one particular scene to Cosmo Lumbino.
I can see that. I think I agree with you. Like there was too much working out. I don't know. I know they're trying to make him be this iconic rock star man. But yeah, I kind of can see what you are saying there. Although I guess that does sort of fit with the like drugged out and bloated and not quite your best.
I now will recite a series of moments that I jotted down that I found amusing.
Okay.
I enjoyed Lestat bitching at his little band after their first show about all the things they did wrong.
Yeah, that was
I
cute.
found that relatable. Uh, as you said, the FaceTime fight was funny.
It was charming.
I found it alternately charming and revolting, all of the modernization that was shoved into this. Like, look, vampires with iPhones and they're doing FaceTime and they text slowly. uh, use silly current or 2 years ago slang terms.
Yeah. It's
uh,
funny.
I almost wish that they had stayed true to the setting of the books, wherein the initial story could have taken place in the 70s,
Mhm.
and then this could be taking place in the 80s. It would be more fun.
I could see that, yeah. Like, honestly, 1970s strung out rock star vibes would be more fun to do than modern, I think, but also that's because 'cause I'm a curmudgeon and like older music, and it's like, I don't know, but the songs are fucking stupid.
They
I
are
do like his voice. I agree
I
with you on that.
I did appreciate the show narratively calling out the song I hate the most as being bad.
Yeah.
So maybe it's bad on purpose. Like,
Sure, I mean, he is meant to be just dramatic and sulky and getting his little feelings out with his rock band, but, uh
speaking of the music, I was annoyed by the bad violin miming. Listeners, I am a violinist and am sensitive to stringed instrument miming in fiction, but it especially made me sad because I read an interview with him talking about how he had to practice making it look like he was playing the violin, and he seemed to be proud of himself for doing that, but he did a terrible job. So I am sad for him that
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a lot to try to ask of an actor that maybe doesn't have any background doing that, and that's
well, they
tricky, but
could have used a body double and put his hair in his face or shot
yeah.
it in such a way that we didn't see how weird he was holding that violin.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't notice a whole lot, but I did notice that it didn't really look like he was playing it really right, because I have seen you play a million times.
I did think that the little audience member lady on drugs was amusing.
Yeah, she was fun.
I noticed and was kind of annoyed by the stupid little Chapel Roan reference on the step and repeat thing when they were at the opening of the hotel. I don't know if you caught that.
I don't think I did.
Well, the female band member whose name I don't recall was yelling at a photographer in a,
Oh,
like, Chapel Rooney kind of way,
that's
and
funny.
I thought the drug stuff was silly and kind of amusing.
Yeah, it didn't really do me either way. I mean, I think it was just a vehicle to facilitate his crises.
I also was very amused by his passing out trick or treat candy,
Yeah, that was cute. And
and
getting mad at that little boy was funny.
it was. And lastly, what was up with the weird pissing scene?
I don't know why we need to know that vampires pee blood, but we do now. I didn't think that we needed it. And also, it lasted a significantly long time. I think I'm just going to have to hold out because I do think it'll be interesting as things unfold.
Well, the only other thing I noted that I haven't remarked on is I was amused by the prolonged ass in the interview scenes on the bus where
Yeah.
that whoever that was showering behind him, so they just had gratuitous ass on screen for a very long time.
Yeah, that was pleasant, I guess. I did like her because I guess she's his, like, I don't know, groupie concubine person, assistant, whatever. And when all the vampire fight was happening and he tells her to turn around and she's freaking out about her work-life balance. That was amusing.
That was funny, yes.
But yeah, ultimately, I feel like it's probably not going to be as good as the other ones. And I hope that it doesn't kill it. And the reason I hope that it doesn't kill it is I think there is more story that can be told because I mean, there's lots of books and I think there's lots of things they can do. But this one, we'll just kind of have to see. I'm holding out hope and judgment, or holding off judgment and holding out hope. Okay, well, I'm excited to watch next week and talk about it.
I am dubious on the future of the story. I am not familiar with the actress that they have cast as Akasha.
I haven't even looked to see who.
She was on Harlots, and I don't remember her from it, though I did watch and enjoy Harlots. As I said before, so far, I do think it's silly, but as we said, the source material is silly, and the television adaptation is self-aware about that silliness. So, I was concerned that they would take it too seriously, like, say, the terrible Queen of the Damned movie.
Well, I
And
agree with you. It's terrible, but I am very fond of that movie. Like, it is bad, but I do like it.
I haven't seen it since it came out, so
I
I
might,
couldn't say. I did recently listen to a podcast I enjoy called Horror Queers. I'm
yeah.
very fond of them, but I suppose in honor of this coming out, they did an episode on the Queen of the Damned film. So it has been on my mind since I watched that or listened to that rather.
Yeah, I thought about rewatching that. I don't really have an interest in rewatching the original Interview with a Vampire movie just because fuck Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and I've seen it a million times in my past, but I haven't
One
watched King of the Dam as much.
one thing I will say about both the original novels and the original Interview with the Vampire film, I was initially lukewarm on the aging up of Claudia.
Mhm.
Because if you recall, in the novels, Claudia was 5 years old when she became a vampire.
Yep.
So she was a creepy little kid vampire. And I believe Kirsten Dunst was like 9 or 10 or something in
Yeah.
the film, and I do not think that a child actor should have to act that material.
Nope.
So, I understand why they did the aging up, but initially I was like, "That kind of takes the existential horror out of the character," because being 100-year-old vampire in a 5-year-old body is different than being a 100-year-old vampire in a 14-year-old body.
Right. And I agree with you that it is not like there's a lot of creepy stuff that, yep. I think that a child actor, I'm not finding my words right because I want to just go on a hateful rant. So
Well, I think it was the correct choice to do the aging up so
I
that
agree.
another child actor wouldn't have to be traumatized by kissing grown men like Kirsten Dunst was.
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of that going on elsewhere, so I do appreciate that, but I do get what you're saying because the horror of being a ancient 5-year-old would definitely be I don't know, it changes the dynamic of, like, when Claudia is freaking out and, like, wanting to be an adult and like in a real body and all of that or an adult body, it seems a little more like a temper fit. And also it's like, yes, I mean, she's young, but she's still like has reached sexual maturity. It's a little less weird for her. Like she's capable of still somewhat passing in as an adult. And you can't do that if you are a tiny 5-year-old. And it's yeah, it's all just it takes away, but I agree with you that it's
I
a better choice for on screen.
I don't know if I will include that in what we release. We hadn't ever talked about it, and you've recently watched the show.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I 100% agree with you on that, but I also just like all of the pedophile rings and all of the evil in the world and all of the Hollywood bullshit. I'm just like, yeah, no child should ever have to be in that scenario ever again. But that just makes me mad and
Well,
riles me up.
I kind of agree with the opinion that I have heard on other podcasts, which is regardless of the content of the role, I don't think children should act professionally.
Agreed. I
I
think
think
that
if you can't if you're not old enough to work at McDonald's, then you're not old enough to have any job. And
agreed.
there's all the financial exploitation
Yep.
and little kids supporting entire families, and I just don't think there should be child actors.
I don't think so either. I think that if there are child labor laws, that should apply to Hollywood. I do think that it's tricky, right? When you have a kid that has and shows a potential talent and wants to pursue something like that. But I feel like in that circumstance, like support and education opposed to long work hours and getting strung out on weight loss drugs and like yeah. But exploitation of women and children are just kind of the thing. It's real in for
Now
the
as
last however
opposed
many years.
to yeah, because it's just occurred to me that we haven't talked much about the first 2 seasons since you've watched it.
Oh yeah.
I think all the changes that they made were great. Like,
Yeah.
I I liked the moving up of the timeline of the Louis stuff. I like making Louis black. I like, after thinking about it, the aging up of Claudia. I think so far all of the changes they have made have been good. So I am less nervous about the subsequent episodes because they have shown good judgment in the past. And I do think probably a good portion of that comes from the fact that Christopher Rice is producing the show.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you. I don't see any of the changes as being problematic. I think it improves of problematic things without detracting from the story in a way that it's like you can still have some problematic things, but there's also a better way to do this. I think it enriches the story.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up for now. So you like TV vampires, huh? Have you watched Dark Shadows? Well, if not, it is available on Tubi or Amazon or the Internet Archive without commercials. And we just happen to be watching and discussing it with you every week. I would encourage you not to be intimidated by the high episode count. Remember, it was a soap opera that aired 5 days a week, so yes, there are over 1,200 episodes, but it was only on for like 5 years. And we are covering 5 episodes of the television program per podcast episode. And we started last fall, so we've made a lot of progress. We just released our episode covering television episodes 186 through 190 yesterday.
The streaming services also have Dark Shadows at the beginning, and these are the first 210 episodes of the show, which some people find boring before the arrival of the vampire. Dark Shadows proper on streaming starts with episode 211. And we love the beginning episodes. We've handily covered them in detail, so if you want to skip watching them and start when the fangs come out, you can listen to our first 42 episodes, or you can wait until July 13th, and we're gonna wrap up the beginning episodes with an extra episode recapping everything important that happens in the first 210 episodes of the show. So you can start at 211 with all the information you need.
That does it for us for the moment. We will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.